Have you ever heard about German physician Franz Joseph Gall? He was a phrenologist. Phrenology is the study of the structure of the cranium to understand our traits. He believed that by studying the bumps in our brain, he will be able to study our traits. Now, phrenology is discredited to be a pseudoscience, but the idea on which it was based, that the brain is localized for different functions, was correct. The brain is the master of our body, which controls all the functions performed by us. Let's learn more about it. Our objective is to study the structure and function of the meninges, the anatomical details of the brain, and the function of various parts of the brain. The central nervous system is formed of the spinal cord and brain. The brain is the most complex and delicate organ in the body. It is the organ that allows us to think, have emotions, move, and even dream. The brain is protected by the cranium, which is part of the skull. Then there are three membranes collectively known as the meninges. The outermost membrane is the dura mater, which lines the inside of the cranium. The arachnoid membrane is thinner and lies just beneath this. Finally, there is a pia mater, which covers the brain directly. It follows the folds of the brain and contains blood vessels supplying blood to the cortex region. The space between the arachnoid and the pia mater is filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. So, the meninges and the cranium together help protect the brain. To study the brain in detail, let us isolate the brain. Brain anatomy recognizes three main parts of the brain: the forebrain, midbrain, which is a small region which remains concealed, and the hind brain. Each of these areas is responsible for different brain functions. The forebrain comprises the cerebrum, which is the largest area of the brain. The cerebrum can be anatomically divided by a deep furrow into two parts, the right and the left hemispheres. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. Four distinct lobes make up the cerebrum. Each of these parts of the brain has different functions. The frontal lobe is responsible for speech and movement. The temporal lobe allows us to distinguish smells and sounds. The occipital lobe processes visual stimuli and allows the brain to process light and objects. The parietal lobe allows us to process pain, pressure, and other physical sensations. The corpus callosum, a C-shaped fiber, joins the left and right hemispheres. The midbrain or mesencephalon is the rostral part of the brainstem and is composed of two pairs of bumps, the colliculi, little hills. The posterior pair, called the inferior colliculi, has an auditory function. The anterior pair, called the superior colliculi, has a visual function. These four nuclei together form the corpora quadrigemina. The hind brain is formed of the cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. The cerebellum or little brain is similar to the cerebrum in that it has two hemispheres and has a highly folded surface or cortex. This structure is associated with the regulation and coordination of movement, posture, and balance. Pons is a part of the hind brain. It is involved in motor control and sensory analysis. It has parts that are important for the level of consciousness and for sleep. Medulla oblongata is the caudal-most part of the brainstem between the pons and the spinal cord. It is responsible for maintaining vital body functions such as breathing and heart rate. Let's summarize the topic. The brain is protected by the cranium, which is part of the skull. 3 membranes, collectively known as the meninges, surround it. It encloses the cerebrospinal fluid. Forebrain, midbrain and hind brain are 3 main parts of the brain. The cerebrum is the largest area of the brain present in the forebrain. The hind brain is formed of the cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata, which is responsible for maintaining vital body functions such as breathing and heart rate. Do you know which part of our brain controls the eating, sleeping and body temperature? It's the forebrain. Keep exploring to find out what more it can do.
Keep imbibing. We believe in you.